No, what I mean by having a good balance, having
supporting women.
having Chinwe and Carol to give
Subscribe
us
Negare,
two versions of two different versions from women's side was really very good.
Married and single.
Yes, older and junior.
Younger.
To just show, yes, that was really good.
That's what you call balance. That balance doesn't affect the men so much. Talking about balance among you girls.
Okay. I mean, since you've been running this program, the thought that has come to me, you know, when they say like, you know, the people.
What has come to you?
The thought. There's a thought that keeps on coming back, and it's like, you know, the thought that the people have been oppressed and the power is on the side of the oppressors. You know, so I see everything you're doing is redistributing that. So far, for so long, the power has been on one side. You know, everybody speaking, society and everything, and tradition, history, you know, everything is on the side, has empowered the male. So I think you're bringing a balance. You're bringing back a balance. Yeah. So there won't be a balance there will be a balance eventually, but the balance might not be, yeah. So you're bringing back a balance that is necessary for the going forward.
So his object is fine that emphasizing women problem.
It is. I will whisper so the men don't hear me. It is.
Okay. But what for the ladies, like your son was saying, he understands you better now. We're packing a few days before and him packing a few minutes before. It's not just about mom. It's everybody.
All right, Pastor, that was revealing. But what I have in what you were looking at that, what came to mind is the fact that everything you've said, all the pictures and all the statistics and everything, they're actually backed by scripture. 1 Peter 3:7 says, husband likewise, dwell with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife. Now, why would Peter write that? Because God knows the nature of a woman. And he says the only way to live with them is to understand them and to give honor to them. Now, I showed that something. In April, I was going through the scripture. I call it the Colossians 3:19 challenge. If you open Colossians 3:19. I was reading through that scripture, and I was going to fly over, and the Lord says, listen, concentrate on this scripture. I looked at the Amplified version. It was about 4 lines. And God said, the next 30 days, pick every single word there and implement it. In other words, love your wife the way that scripture says you should. So all the men should actually look at Colossians 3:19. And it talks about the way you speak to her, and it asks that you sympathize with her and, you know, be affectionate. And for 30 days, I didn't tell my wife. Whatever the Holy Spirit tells me to do, I did. And I created a diary for that. Now, before the end of 30 days, she noticed, and her response towards me also changed. It was after the 30 days that I told her what I was doing. Now, what am I trying to say? You see, the stereotype is what you've just described. A man that will live by default, that's what we will do. We would rather the woman do all the work and we not do anything. But we need to be intentional in our relationship. I say to men, most of us are professionals, and what we do is when we want to be chartered or qualified, we put in effort. Nobody wants to be a chartered accountant and goes to bed without studying. And I say, listen, your marriage is more important because no matter what your calling is, if your home front is not in place, you cannot achieve your destiny. You will be an hypocrite because you'll be presenting what you're not to the public. And so the marriage should come first after
what
God.
The men were saying that they just didn't know.
Well, Pastor, the truth of the matter is, you are actually doing that now, but how many men are actually logging on? When you organize a seminar sometimes and you want to impact people, you tell them they would rather their priority is somewhere else. They'll tell you they don't have time for such things. Now, if you have stuff to give to them, how would they learn if they don't come? That is part of being intentional, Pastor. We men have to be, I'm talking about men now, we need to be intentional in our relationship and marriage. Marriage is hard work. Pastor has said it, we've heard it. It is hard work. What that means is we need to work at it for it to work. Praise the Lord.
Brilliant. You know the impression I have about this topic that we are raising and talking about all these issues? I think it's starting a revolution for men. Like I said, I express what I know. Would men talk about themselves? I mean, there is no man that is not heard jokes and talks going on among men about how long it takes a woman to pack, or how a woman comes late to an appointment because she needs to, dress and get ready to. And we just trivialize those things. So to begin to talk about it as something serious and as something that men really need to look into as finding a way to support a woman, men don't even think in that sense. Even the good men, you know what the good men try to do? You have to talk to your wife. She has to be more organized. She has to be more disciplined. or more broken, more humble, or more, more modest, yes. But even if you're multitask, we prefer solution, eh? It's so easy, just multitask. Okay. That one is deadly. Go and read Proverbs 31. That is deadly. Wow. But what Caroline said, that even if you don't have children and family, you still have thousands of consideration, things to consider. And it's not easy. You still have to take a decision. So, and there is another thing I'm going to talk about maybe tomorrow or something. Men don't even like to take decisions sometimes. And we still want the lady, okay, you decide. We didn't know how tough it is for them to take decisions. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about systems. System. Уже включили? Okay, let's welcome our friends on Facebook who is watching us, who has joined us. Hello, everybody. Blessings. Oh, it's so quiet the way you are greeting them. Hello. I'm going to get the shorunke before we go into the serious matter. Your husband said she's just discovering you. He's just discovering you. How did you cope with that all those years? And he didn't even notice. And, when men say, I'm having a good life with my wife, it is normally not to the credit of the man. It is to the ingenuity of the lady, because she's been able to conceal a lot of things, cope on different fronts, fight our battles and his battles without even him noticing. It's a compliment to the lady, but an indictment to the man. I want the people to learn from that.
Well, to be honest, it's absolutely true that, in my marriage, I did take on a lot of things. And honestly, the way that I am, I shouldn't have even been able to do that. So I look at it as God's grace. I was the only child for more than 21 years. And my dad's love, my mom used to cry because I loved my dad. My dad loves me so much. So you can imagine the kind of care that, I got. And when I got married, in my mind, my prayer as a single
What age
woman,
Did you get married?
27.
Oh, grown up.
Yes. My prayer when I was single, I'm for enjoying your single life, you know, the best you can. That's how you don't miss it. Just enjoy your single life. But I was of the mind that, you know, my friends used to say, "Oh, I want my husband to look like Denzel Washington." And I used to sit down, and these are Christians. I used to say, "What's going on here? I'm missing something." My thing was, I want to be the best wife for who I'm going to marry.
Wow.
I am not worried about him because I
Amazing.
know that God is fixing him up. So that's not my business. That's
So
his
you are
business.
busy working on yourself.
Yeah, I used to say, God, how can I want to, you know, I want to be the best wife for this person that you're preparing for me. That was just my philosophy. And so when when he came and everything, he was a student, a dental student. He had a big challenge before I married him. He had an accident. He almost lost his leg and all that kind of stuff. And we still stayed together. And then after all of that, got married. Being a student, studying medicine, I didn't expect him to be honest, I didn't expect him to even really, I don't want to say look at me, but honestly, the stress of that alone, I was like, okay, let him go do that. And I will do all of this so that he can finish that successfully.
Because he was a student.
He was a student, so he could finish all of that without distraction, and then, you know, we can move on. But you know how it is, one thing comes, another thing comes, and so on and so forth. So before I knew it, I was pregnant, I was having a baby. He was doing some more programs in medicine, and so, you know, I just kept on bearing it. But the favor that God gave me was, I think what I
You
learned.
kept on just bearing the whole thing by yourself.
Yeah, but you know what? I had an outlet, though. I sort of figured, you know what? There's a lot of pressure here. So,
But he also thought he had an excuse. I was going to work. He said he
Yeah.
was just gone.
yes, and he could do that because I'm bearing all of it. If I didn't, if I just lie down and said, okay, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm sure he would stop.
Because men think that they have an excuse because they got a job.
Yeah, and we think he has an excuse, too, because he got a job. At least that's the way I felt. I felt like he also had an excuse. 'cause
But because men don't know what women pass through, we sell that to you until you begin to believe it, that we have an excuse.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's too one-sided. I think that's in line with what Davida said. That for so long, the world has just been run as according to the man's mindset.
Yes. So, but my where I was telling you that I had a place of escape. You know, some of you will get this. I would go back to God and I would say, "Hey, this man you gave me, is this the plan?" I would have a communication with God about what was going on.
But he didn't
know.
even have an idea that you needed to go to God to resolve anything. He thought everything was great. Every man thinks everything is great.
Yeah. But to be honest, when he would come around, you know, somehow, some way,
When they will
he
appear,
began,
men only appear
made-
to give the children, to make the baby.
you know, there were lots of things. that
Somehow
he
they
did.
find a way of getting her pregnant. They don't have time for any other thing, but somehow they get her pregnant one way or the other. That they don't fail to do. They might not wash the place, they might not cook the food, they might not iron the clothes, they might not, know where the room is, where the restroom is. They might not know where the money is coming from, where the kitchen is. They might not know where the mall is. But somehow they get her pregnant.
Well, I'll be honest. I would say I had a good package because he cooks, he washes, he irons, and let me top it up for you. He used to sew my blouses.
Then why did you say he went to work?
He did go to work, but he found time to do those things. And so it's almost like a
Compensation was there.
There was compensation of him. And I think one of the best things he did was I didn't have a great relationship with my mom. That's a whole nother story. Now I understand better why. But what he did is that he brought that relationship together. Because I'm an only child for my mom. When I was having my baby, he told me, he said, she's coming over here. I'm bringing her to our house. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be the man in the middle. I'm going to make sure that she does not affect her home.
But that is so brilliant that before you had your child,
yes,
that you had the help.
Yes.
That he made sure that your mom was there to help you. That's one of the greatest things that could happen.
Yes.
And that one of the worst things that could happen to a woman is for her to be alone when she's giving birth.
Yes.
Or just alone with a man. It's like being with your enemy.
Yes. Absolutely. So I would give him that for mending that relationship, and it was important that relationship be mended. And so he said, but this is what you're going to have to give up. Remember, there's a price for things in life. He said, this is what you're going to have to give up. You're going to have to give up your kitchen. That means that my mom, because my mom is the caterer, he says, give it up, let her be in charge. And I tell you, that was the best formula ever, because she had the most fun time taking care of her grandchildren and working in the kitchen. So he did a lot of things that helped me, not to, have an outlet every now and then with all the pressures, But he's always somebody who wants to do better. He does a lot of things. In fact, when people call, where's your husband? I don't say, oh, he went to the grocery store. I say, oh, I'll tell him that you called. I don't tell anybody anything because they pass out when they find out what he's doing. They say, what does your wife do? If you're doing that, what does she do? So I would say that I've truly been blessed, but what you talked about this morning, a lot of women are going through that. But I felt like today was a day of deliverance. The deliverance in the sense that even though you're a woman and you don't know how your situation is going to be fixed, but somebody is talking about it. Pastors are talking about this issue. Mm-hmm. Women are talking, married women is talking about it, single women is talking about it. And they just feel that, you know what? Somebody knows what I'm going through. Okay. And they know in depth. They've been through it. So now it is out. It's like a pause in a boil. You know how that thing is? It's gotta come out. Once it comes out, healing can start.
So what you are saying then is that a lot of women struggle with understanding then, that people don't understand what they are going through.
Yeah, even with other women, we may share story together. I may say, in my home it's this and that. She will listen to me. Maybe her home is even worse, but she won't want to say that. It's not that maybe she don't want to say because she doesn't want me to know what she's going through, but it's more than that. Because maybe if she tells me that, I think to myself, it's going to get worse because she just gave me a worse story. So there's more to this pain that I have. So sometimes as women, we don't want to overwhelm another woman by giving her this story that's going to make her go like, do I have to go through that too? So you just try to be a listening ear to the other woman. But what happened today was it was brought out to the world. We're talking about Facebook Live. It was brought, I don't know how many people did not sign up, but I don't know how many people were actually watching. Pastors, men, brothers, this young gentleman here, you were just...
Kevin.
He gave the true picture of the way he sees how to dress and just said, well, I don't know about the women. They seem a little bit complicated, but hey, let them do their thing. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother her. But now he's even got even more information now because he knows what he needs to do. It's not don't bother her. It's like get involved, and figure out, where should I fit myself in here, So when I look at him, I can't imagine how many of him were listening, and actually getting something that they always were curious about, that they probably thought in their mind there's no solution, just have to accept it, that's just the way it is. Now he knows that's not the way it is, right? Yeah. Now you know how there's a way, there's a formula, I can deal with things, and our marriage could be better whenever you decide to do so. So it's
But
like deliverance.
like the pastor said, and he was so sincere,
Yes.
Pastor Lemon,
Yes.
Lemmy,
Yes. Yes.
that men think that either God made a mistake by creating them that way, or they are just a mistake. Because they are too complicated. They don't know what they want. So what he is saying is that we men are discovering that they are not crazy after all. That they are human beings like us, that they are not worse, that they just created differently, that God didn't make a mistake in the process of their creation.
I think where I even got more understanding of how complex we are and what would be the reason for that was when Caroline was talking about how the men were to learn if they can sort this, complex personality out. What they're actually doing is that they are learning how to deal with all people.
Yeah.
And that was
That
I
was
never
brilliant.
saw that
That
before.
was
I
brilliant.
never saw that before. And vice versa too, that women will realize that they have a partner that can help them focus, and everything is, like this. And then you have a man that understands, that comes in. He knows what's going on. He knows that all the colors are all mixed up, and so he knows how to say, okay, you know what? We're gonna just take the green out right now, and we're gonna put it over here, and we're gonna take, and before you know it, everything is in compartment, and then it's like organizing. Like organizing something, so you know where everything is, and so even though you want to dress up, you know where everything is that you want to do. So that was when I got a revelation that, wow, because it has to be for a reason. God is always teasing us. He's always doing something for a reason. And once we don't know the reason, then it becomes like, it's nothing. It's nothing. So that really brought some kind of conclusion for me that, wow, you know what? It could be that God is saying, you figured this out. You could definitely, dominate this world. You can figure out people. You can minister to any kind of person. You can sort out any kind of person. That's a training tool for you. And doing it, you're also honoring God. You're honoring her, and you're just showing what a true family should
But
look
you
like.
have a son
Yes.
and a girl.
Yes.
Are you now reconsidering, thanks to this season that we started this week, of any way you could better inform or train maybe both your son or maybe son or daughter about before they start out on their own any of this truth?
Yes, that's why we have our daughter here with us, and she's been so gracious to accept to come on a journey that she doesn't know, what her parents are up to coming to Ukraine. It's like, here goes my parents again. They're always taking me somewhere, But that's why we have her here, because if I were to go back and tell Caroline about this, there's just
There's no way.
But you know what? Talking about my son, if I bring Caroline here, Caroline knows how to talk to her brother. Her brother respects her. So Caroline can share with her brother her experience here. I can do it, but I know that if Caroline sees a situation in his life or a right opportunity, she will discuss with him because he respects her so much.
But I will tell you what, no matter what she says, he's not going to be seeing it. He's wired. A man needs to tell him in a way a man can. Yes.
So I am not a man. I am a woman.
I think it will be helpful for him. It will be helpful for him to maybe watch, or see some of those.
Yes.
Yes?
No. Oh, go ahead. What? You said no.
Go ahead, please. Okay. So I think that will help.
Oh.
I think that will help, because we should think of our boys, how they are going to treat other people's daughters. Huh? because I'm concerned about that. And I don't want ever for my son to grow up and for his wife to go through anything that his mother didn't go through, or that I hear other women go through. I will never ever be proud of my son if he gets a wife and begin to tell the wife to go and get a job, or to say, I cannot provide this for her. I would say it's not fair to that girl, whoever the girl will be, wherever she will be coming from. I would not like any girl, any man, to treat any person's daughter with less dignity and less understanding that she deserves. So I think even for the sake of our sons, maybe for the sake of our daughters too, we need to carry this message of relationship further. What, you want to say something? Okay. Yeah, you can bring it. You'll be reading today? Okay. All right. The eager. Pastor James, are you okay? Yes, remove it. Remove it, just remove it. And then you have to put off the light. Then another flu sheet, Zaddy. What? What was the first slide?
Okay. All right.
Okay. Today we are going to be talking on how to build systems. This is going to be a very tough message here, a rather complex topic. But brace yourselves, brace yourselves. Yes. The key to resolving every problem or attaining every goal. The first thing I want you to know about system building is that if you learn how to build systems, if you learn what algorithms are, how to form algorithms, how to build systems, you will have discovered the key to resolving every problem. You will have discovered the key to resolving any problem and to attain any goal. So system building is one key that will allow you to find solution to anything. It's one key that will allow you to attain any target, any goal that you set before yourself. It's so important that you can actually single-handedly bring solution to any task and any challenge in front of you. If only you can sit down and discern a system to resolve that issue. So there is almost nothing as strong as it. As a matter of fact, people who have learned to build systems are the ones who control the world, because they can sit down and provide solution to any challenge ahead of them just by putting down principles and algorithms and formulas that will find a way to that particular challenge that is ahead of them. So that's why mathematics is so important. And a lot of kids and even parents don't understand why is it that we have to study mathematics, or why is it that we have to study physics, science, chemistry, biology, and all those elementary science subjects. But some people study them and look at them as just subjects and classes that they take. But really, it's for you to be able to learn principles of detailings and principles of detailing and rearranging or formulating formulas and algorithms. So the whole idea of mathematics, physics, chemistry is for you to be able to disassemble anything and be able to assemble it in such a way to bring about a formula of solution. That is the whole idea of mathematics. So the reason why you study mathematics is for you to be able to know that, okay, if 2 plus 2 equal 4, it means that if I want this wall to stand, the same height, 2 on 2 must be here, 2 on 2 must be here, so that they will both stand, and then something for me to put something on top of it. So that one will not be 2 and 1 plus 1, one will not be 2 plus 4, and then it will be like that, and it will be collapsed. So it's for you to be able to put things together, for them to function. That is why anywhere you find a highly developed society, in industry, in electronics, in mechanisms, telecommunications, anything, anywhere you find industry, machine buildings, factories, it is always because mathematics and science is well developed there. Because the things that make industries develop, the things that bring you about is the ability to is the ability to make things, is ability to work out precisions, and the ability to calculate and make things function according to order. So orderly societies are highly technological societies. Orderly societies are highly progressive societies because they make things work. So a society that is encouraged in mathematics, in science, they attain quicker growth in industry and in advanced, systems of that work in general. It's unfortunate that people look at mathematics and physics as something that is just a subject that they get, but it's actually to produce people who can calculate, dismantle things, and rearrange them in such a way to function and to create something that never existed. And that is what we call systems. So people who have gotten that, who are able to put systems together and things together to function and assemble and be able to assemble things, one thing and the other to put together to create what has never happened, is what we call system builders. These are people who can create systems, and they are the one that the world revolves around. They are the ones that make the world, go around. They are the ones who control the world. So, for example, it is one thing for you to work in a hospital. It is one thing for you to go to be treated in the hospital. But the man that will be able to sit down and build and work out a whole hospital, how it's supposed to function, and build it and be able to put it all together. Build the system, hospital system, health system. They are the ones who run the world. It is one thing for you to be able to ride a car and sit there as a driver. It's another thing for you to be able to repair a car and be a mechanic. But it's a totally different thing for you to build a transportation system. Either it's for plane or for train or for buses, transportation system to make it function in a country or in a city. They are the ones who run, not the ones who are the mechanics who run the world. They are not the ones who assemble the car who run the world. They're the system. They are the ones who run the world. Why is Apple running the world of smartphones? Controlling yours and my life. Why do our lives have to depend on Apple products? They built a system that provides solution to our needs. So the whole world is dependent on the system that a man built or it's an organization built. They run the world. They tell us how our lives are supposed to be. Why is it that the richest man in the world, Bill Gates, is the richest man in the world? They control the world. Every country will be happy if he wants to visit, from the president to anybody. Why? Because he has been able to build a system that affects the life of more people than any other person. A system of personal computers. It tells the world how to live. It built a system that's applicable to everybody. Why is it that we all today, we cannot almost live a day without depending on the product that Mark Zuckerberg came up with? Because he created a system that we cannot function without. These are the people who run the world. So when Mark Zuckerberg went to Nigeria, the whole country was talking about why. Because these people who make the world run about, what do you call it? Revolve, or who make the world move about, or what do you call it? Go round. People who make the world go round are people who have been able to build one system or the other. The ability to build systems is the greatest thing, one singular thing you could think of. Why are we all here? Because somebody built a system that is called HMT. If you go to Africa, you will see people doing HMT. Go to Canada, you see people doing HMT. Go to America, you see people doing HMT. Somebody came up with that system. Systems. But before I leave the world, I want to build a system that will be better than Facebook, better than Google, better than any of the latest system that has ever been developed in this world. I want to leave the world with that system so that when I go to heaven, the system will be causing the world to go around. And we could all train our minds to begin to reason in terms of building systems. I have discovered, my friends, that geniuses are not born. You could create yourself to be a genius. You could make yourself become a genius by your own efforts. And I'm building a system, a technological system that's going to be better than Mark Zuckerberg work. Why? Even though I never studied mathematics, because we grew up in Idomila village, and I never studied physics or engineering or chemistry or anything like that. I even never saw a library or a laboratory. I never saw them in my own life. Up to today, I've never seen a laboratory. Yes. But because I've educated myself, pushed myself every minute, push myself. Now I can come up with ideas. So much that my friend, Professor Anibogu, who is a professor of chemistry and physics, who was a lecturer in chemistry and physics in Atlanta University for 30 years, he said, I never understood mathematics until I met Pastor Sunday. And I never understood that physics was in the Bible or chemistry until I heard Pastor Sunday speak. Because you can push yourself, you can educate yourself so much that even the professors will be saying, what kind of university did you study? Where did you study that mathematics or physics or something like that? It's all about self-education and self-development. So even people who are in university today teaching physics and mathematics, they don't even know it's for building systems. They don't even have an idea. They just think that it's just having a subject. They don't know how to make it applicable in life. So that's why I want to show you the applicability of systems, so much that you know that just the ability to build systems will enable you and afford you the skills to resolve any problem, either to resolve problem or to attain any goal. All right, here we go. Yes, please.
Principles and laws of life. God created everything by laws and certain principles.
Whose body is that one? Okay, the person got it off.
Life works by certain identifiable principles. That is why life is predictable.
Now, all that you've just read might mean nothing to you. You know, we saw just saw a bunch of words, right? And it might not mean much to you. But if you understand that one singular page, you'll be one of the most educated and most informed people in your generation. Just that page alone. Just one page alone. Article to just the director. So, I would therefore have to go through it for you to get a better understanding of what it's saying. It says, for you to understand life and to be able to not just understand life, but to manage life. Because it's one thing to live in life, to live life. That's what most people just, gray masses, that's what people do. They just live. And why are they living life? Because they found themselves alive. They didn't die after all. And they find themselves breathing, and so they are living. And that is the kind of life most people are living. They are just existing. Other people try to understand life just by understanding some truth about life. Love your wife, love your husband, take care of your children, work hard. That's what people are. But it's another level of living to manage life and be over life and control life. And that's what you get to when we begin to talk about system building. Get to the place where you manage. Only few people can talk. And when people who are just living life hear that, they think you are a lunatic. And I will probably not hide it from you that no few people thought that I was absolutely lunatic and I was delusional whenever they saw my video about Nigeria. Because if you've seen my video, my speeches about Nigeria, what I say about Nigeria sometimes, about my going to Nigeria, about what is going to happen, people say either this guy is coming from another planet or he's just totally crazy. Yeah, some of you might have thought like that. Some of you might have thought like that. But people who I wouldn't have known about this, but people who talk like that are the ones who are telling me that by themselves. Some of them are now on board, but so they still have their fears and their doubts. But it's not normal. And I know it's not normal. But we don't belong to the same place. We are not coming from the same place. We are not talking from the same platform. I'm not talking from the platform of somebody who is just living as a human being. And I'm not talking from the platform of somebody who is trying to live the good life and learn some principles from there and be good Christians because they read the Bible or trying to read the Bible. But I'm talking from somebody, or I'm from the mindset of somebody who knows that just like you can ride your car and direct it, you direct it or you manage it. It's not managing, it's for it. Manipulate, maneuver, yeah? You can control your car when you are driving. You control your car. You decide on the direction. You decide what it does. You determine if it stops or goes and how it goes. You can manipulate, manage, control that car. You are in charge. Such could you be about life. You can be on top of life and rule in life and rule over life rather than be at the mercy of life. And one of the very important factors for that to happen is what I'm about to reveal to you today. Men who build systems are the ones who are managing, controlling, and ruling over life. And for you, at least to have an understanding of what's going on, you need to be familiar with this message today. At least so that you even know that this concept exists. And the very first thing to know in that process of becoming people in charge of life is to know this principle that is here. And the principle says that life is based on laws and principles. You must know that life is not just chaotic. Life is not just like air, just breathe now, and you cannot dissect it. But life is dissectible. Just like, the iPad that you are using, it's not just mystical. This iPad is not mystical. It could be dissected. And everything could be put apart and gathered apart together again. Such is life too. So why is it that iPad, I'm seeing it as a singular entity. But it's not. There are more than 6,000 elements here. Components. That are making it into one unit. Such is life itself. Those units and components is what you call principles when it comes to life. Here you call it components. When it comes to life, the things that make these things together are different components. But when it comes to life, there are different laws and principles. Just like you have these mechanical things, components that make this up, so also you have things that make up life. They are called laws and principles. That is to say, listen now, life itself is not chaotic and it's not abstract as many think. Life is something that is gathered, packaged together on principles, on laws. So life therefore functions according to rules. And these are not just chaotic, abstract, and undesignable rules. These are fixed rules, laws, principles, fixed. Fixed. It means, if they are fixed, it means known or have the potential to be discovered. So life, therefore, is based on known or discoverable principles, fixed principles, concrete principles and laws. That, therefore, changes our whole perception to life. Life, therefore, goes from something mystical and something abstract and something illusionary to becoming something predictable. Because there are principles and laws that is based on. Until you know that, you will never be in charge of life. You will always be a victim of life. As profound or simple as what I'm saying is, it is important that you stop a little bit or pause a little bit and reflect on what I just said. Because you heard me with your ears, but I'm afraid you might still be far from grasping the concept that I'm trying to pass across to you. You will treat life as a mystery and as a mirage or illusion from which to expect miracles if you don't understand what I'm talking about. You will therefore take your own life and make it dependable upon some abstract things, realities like miracles. If you don't understand what I'm talking about. Let me say it in a new way, in a different way. If you don't know that life is based on laws, principles, and rules, and that life is predictable, and they are based because it functions based on fixed laws, and that life could be dissected and digested and repackaged and assembled. If you don't understand that, you will always be at the mercy of life. And you are at the mercy of life because you are thinking that it is not predictable. You are thinking that it is chaotic, it is abstract, and it is unpredictable. And it is chaotic. It happens by miracles, by chance. Life is a chance. Life is a miracle. Life is in the hand of anybody else. In the hand of God, in the hand of Satan, in the hand of events and occurrences. What do you call life, catastrophe, what do you call the famine, hunger, what do you call those things? Act of God, faith, acid accidents, natural catastrophes. You know, life is in the hand of anything, only not in your own hand. We make God wicked. We make God appear wicked. We make God appear unreasonable. We make God appear inconsiderate by that assumption. So we think God just threw us in the jungle and said, find your way anyhow. That's what we mean when we think life depends on miracles, wonders, and anything that nature or God throws at us. What then differentiates us from pagans? Well, that's exactly what they call it? Pagans. What is the synonym to pagans? Gentiles. What is therefore the difference between Gentiles, pagans, polytheists people? What is the difference between them then and us? No difference. We are all just the same. They are thinking life depends on some sun, the God of sun, the God of thunder, the God of iron, the God of waters, the God of the sea, the God of accidents, anything that happens, maybe we have to appease the wind, the earthquake, and we too, only we lessen our own from those poly gods and things into just one, Satan or two, Satan or God. Yeah. That's what we do. And that is why unbelievers who have discovered that life is predictable, they just go ahead all the way and throw God out of the window. Because they know that life is predictable. So why are you telling me I have to wait and be depending on God when I can fix it? We push them to that. Because we have not told them that there is a place for God, despite the fact that life is based on laws that are predictable. We have not told them where God's place is. We have not enlightened them to know why God made life predictable. We have not informed them why they could manipulate life or control life or rule over life. But good thing with them, even if they are atheists and they are unbelievers, the good thing about them is they got that lesson that life is based on laws and principles, and they are going for it. And everything we are now enjoying today are majorly from those people who don't even believe in God. They create life for us and make life livable to us and make life affordable and even dwellable for us. And they still don't believe in God. While we still want to live the, superficial life. What the Africans do. Not supernatural. Artificial life, like not artificial. When you are thinking something, not superficial. What's the name? No. There is something, there is a word in, mystical, but superstitious life, superstitious. That's what I'm, we are superstitious. And they know that life is not superstition. They know life is not superstition. And because they have discovered that, once you discover that life is based on laws and principles, you get delivered from superstition. But we, even though our superstition is connected not with sun and moon and wind and anymore, but we still make it superstition, only this time connected to God and Satan. But we are still living our lives as if life is not predictable, life is superstitious. And unless we get delivered from superstition, mindset, and approach to life, we will always be inferior and will always be trailing those unbelievers that have understood one of the greatest truths of life, that life is predictable. One of the greatest truths for you to therefore discover in your own lifetime will be for you to know that you are not a victim in life. And you are not here in life trying to walk about mysteriously in some mysterious jungles and just groping through life and bugging your head against anything that is out there because you don't know how to avoid them or how to go around them. Life is predictable is the first thing for you to be able to manage that life. Because there is no way you'll be able to manage life or rule over life if you don't even know how it works, how it moves. There is no way for you to control the wind if you don't know the movements of the wind. There is no way for you to say life is predictable and you can now build systems to control and manage life if you think life is abstract or life is mystical. I'm so sorry for you guys today. I feel like I feel like making you sleep another 2 hours and come back fresh. Because what I'm telling you, they're engaging your mind beyond what you're thinking. And they're going to make you to really think and work hard, not physically, but you need to be mentally alert, 100%. You need to be 100%. Otherwise, you're just hearing me in words, but you are not processing me. And I'm afraid that we're at that stage. But I didn't want to talk about this yet even, because I know that today it will be premature to talk about it. But for Uche, who needs to go tomorrow, and that's why I have to stress you. So you've got to be stretched a little bit. And before I go ahead, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help you guys. I'm going to send you out into the cold for 5 minutes, for 2 minutes. 2 to 5 minutes. You have to stand in the cold, out there in the cold, then come back. Put on the light, please. Because I want to wake you up. You need that alertness and that soundness of mind for you to be able to listen to me.